Please welcome the University of Virginia Law School faculty.
Welcome to the graduates of the class of 2018, families and friends. Please join me in thanking the Plum Blossom String Quartet, which has provided our musical entertainment. Pride. It is everywhere today, and it is all for you. I am beaming with it, and so too are all those here to see you graduate today. Your mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, children, relatives, and friends. I hope you feel that, appreciate it, and bask in it. You are lucky to be surrounded by the people who have supported you for the last 3 years and for the 25 or so before that. I want to ask the graduates to join us in a round of applause to honor and thank your family and friends. Pride is also the word to describe how the faculty feel about you today. They are the ones who watched you grow from nervous 1Ls, not quite sure what a tort is, into the mature, highly educated, and practice-ready graduates you are today. I know I speak for all of the faculty when I say that we are so proud of you. I hope you are proud of yourselves. You should be. The law is a learned profession, requiring, according to long-standing definition, extensive learning or erudition. That describes so much of what you have been doing for the past 3 years, both inside and outside the classroom. You immersed yourselves in the study of a new and complex field. You welcomed the intellectual challenges that awaited you, and you met them with alacrity and interest. Some of you, including most of our graduate students, came from another country, and you mastered a new culture along with a new legal system and a new vocabulary. You have all worked hard, read thousands of pages, answered innumerable cold calls, written papers, and deciphered exam questions. You have spent hundreds of hours in clinics and externships, briefed and argued cases before regulatory agencies and state and federal judges. You have advised local nonprofits and entrepreneurs, prepared patent applications and licensing agreements, and even drafted petitions, successful petitions, for certiorari submitted to the United States Supreme Court. You have learned so much outside the classroom as well, in moot courts and mock trials nationally and internationally, through the 10 journals you published this year, and from the over 100 panels, speakers, and networking events you brought to the law school this year alone. You have earned those words, those highbrow words, learned and erudite. Indeed, you have done even more than that. The profession of law is not only learned, it is also noble. This might sound hokey, but I am not above hokey. The noble and learned profession of the law. It is hokey, but it is also true. The learning of the law is coupled with a commitment to high ideals, to the rule of law as a superior means of dispute resolution, and to advancing justice. Joining a noble and learned profession means accepting and holding a public trust, to serve as well as succeed, to give as well as gain from your professional standing. Discharging that trust requires pursuing careers and making choices with integrity, judgment, and humanity. You have already embraced and begun to discharge that public trust, to serve the public and profession in so many ways, and with these admirable traits, in the form of serving our own local community, as well as our Commonwealth, our nation, and the world. Here in Charlottesville, you collectively logged over 16,600 hours in pro bono service. More than 100 of you met our pro bono legal challenge. Through the North Ground Softball League, your invitational raised over $20,000 to support the local nonprofit Ready Kids and the Law School's Public Interest Law Association. You supported prisoners, children, immigrants, and disabled veterans. You helped area residents file taxes and find shelter from domestic abuse. Further afield, you spent your spring break serving the public all across the country. And even further afield, you conducted international pro bono and human rights work in Myanmar and Cape Town. And when I say you, I mean you, the students. You led these efforts and so many more. Conferences, symposia, events, prize-winning student organizations. The Black Law Students Association, not once, but twice in a row during your law school careers, was recognized as the National Chapter of the Year. The American Constitution Society was also recognized this year as National Chapter of the Year. This year's tax moot court team won the International and European Tax Moot Court in Belgium, the first U.S. team to do so in the competition's almost 15-year history. Even your artistic and comedic wit earns accolades, as one of your libel show videos was a finalist in Above the Law's annual competition, though I was sad it wasn't carpool karaoke. You have excelled, you have served, you have led, and you have embraced the highest ideals of this profession. And you have done it all with characteristic collegiality and generosity. You came here from diverse backgrounds with different experiences, views, attitudes, interests, hopes, and dreams. But you were and are committed to joy, humanity, respect, dialogue, collaboration, and community across those differences. Even when tested by the events of this year, that commitment was on full display, and as you know, I could not have been more proud. You became, and you will leave here, interlocutors, colleagues, future networks, and friends for life. The openness and generosity you have displayed is a gift you have given to us, the faculty, to each other, and to yourselves. So when I say we are proud of you, we are proud of what you have learned, of the accomplishments we can count and you can put on your resumes. And we are also proud of you for who you are as people, learning from one another, sharing thoughts and ideas and arguments with one another, and caring for one another and the larger world. When you leave here, you will represent the legal profession and this law school, and we will bask in your reflected glory, for we are so proud of the UVA lawyers, friends, and leaders you have become. I'm pleased to introduce Stephen Glendon, President of the Student Bar Association, who has learned and served and led and thrived here. Stephen will present the class gift and introduce today's speaker. Stephen received a BA in philosophy from Wake Forest University in 2013, where he minored in Japanese. Before enrolling at the law school, he was a litigation paralegal in the Richmond office of McGuire Woods. In addition to serving as SBA president, He has contributed in so mmany ways to the law school community as production editor for the Virginia Law and Business Review, vice president of programming for the Virginia Law and Business Society, and vice magister for the John Barbie Minor Inn of the Phi Delta Phi International Legal Honor Society. He has also worked as a pro bono intern for McGuire Woods, where he helped design and implement a family law pro bono program. This fall, he will work for the law firm White & Case. It has been a pleasure working with Stephen this year, and I look forward to seeing where his career takes him. Stephen.
Thank you, Dean Goluboff, for that wonderful introduction. I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak on behalf of the class of 2018 today. More than just for the introduction, I would like to thank Dean Goluboff for her fearless leadership of this school and her unwavering dedication, not only to the academic excellence of the law school, but to the well-being of the community and students as a whole. While I'm thanking people, I want to express how grateful we are to the professors and administrators who made our life here at UVA possible. Whether it's through academic mentoring, personal support, or trading away their valuables for a paperclip to get us through our negotiations class, they truly exemplify the spirit of community that UVA Law is praised for. And for many of us, none of this would be possible without the friends and family who supported us through these last 3 years. I may never be able to truly express how great the depth of our gratitude for your support and encouragement as we chased our dreams here. And I have to say, it says a lot about your strength of character that you could listen to the same torts pun so many times without rolling your eyes. But in all seriousness, from the bottom of my heart, for myself and on behalf of my classmates, thank you so much. Most of you know me as the guy who flooded your inbox with emails, or more importantly, as the guy who gave out donuts once a month. And yes, I finally figured out how many to order so that A&G could get one. But for me, being president meant that I had the privilege of representing the student body in this amazing class over the last year. During that time, I got to know so many of you. I learned that you're a passionate class with diverse interests and experiences, but mostly, I learned how lucky I am to call you my colleagues, my classmates, and my friends. Over and over again, we hear that law school is the start of our professional network, and that's certainly true. The people that are sitting next to you are going to be your colleagues, your adversaries, and your clients during your legal careers. But I think that law school has been so much more than that. I think that the law school has been a start of our personal networks as well. Over these last years, we've studied together, we've taken tests together, and we've commiserated over cold calls together. We've created a community here that's inspiring and unique, and that in just 3 years, that's incredible. During our time here, we've made best friends and confidants. We've met our spouses, we've had children, we've fallen in love, and we've had our hearts broken. And through all these ups and downs, we've been by each other's side without question or hesitation, and that is what makes UVA Law an incredible place. While we were going to class and studying and drinking an excess of coffee, something amazing was happening. Life was happening all around us. And these are the friends that you're going to take with you for the rest of it. And now, after these 3 enriching years, we're about to step into the big, bustling world of law, and we're going to try and make a name for ourselves. But I'm not worried for any of you. Because through these years, I've gotten to know you, and I don't have any doubt that your passion and drive will empower you to achieve any goal. You're the most dedicated and driven individuals I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. And whether you're going to be entering the world of public service and fighting for the little guy, climbing the big law ladder, advocating for public policy, or entering the world of in-house counsel, I know that you'll be able to achieve anything you can dream of and more, and the world is going to be a better place for it. My greatest wish is that when you reach these incredible heights, you'll remember this community and where it all started. It's because of this community and the connections we've made here that I'm honored to announce this year's class gift. The class gift, which is the promise of future support to UVA Law, is a gift of 264 pledges for a participation rate of 90%. Thank you to Thank you to class gift co-chairs Laura Gregory and Connor Kelly, and to all of the class agents whose hard work made this gift possible. This gift and UVA Law's consistently high participation rate speaks volumes about our students' dedication to our alma mater. Now, without further ado, it is my honor to introduce our commencement speaker, Cynthia Hogan. Ms. Hogan graduated from UVA Law in 1984. She's had an exceptionally accomplished career, starting out clerking for Judge Kahn in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania before becoming an associate at Williams & Connolly. She then went on to work for Vice President Joe Biden, serving as chief counsel during his time in the Senate, and then serving as counsel to the vice president during his 8 years in office. After that, Ms. Hogan moved on to become Senior Vice President for Public Policy and Government Affairs for the NFL. She continued her distinguished career when she was hired by Apple in 2016 to serve as their Vice President for Public Policy and Government Affairs. With such vast experience and distinguished service, we are so lucky to have the opportunity to hear Ms. Hogan speak with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming home Cynthia Hogan, class of 1984.
Stephen, thank you, especially for that welcome home. It does feel like I'm home. I want to thank the deans. I want to thank the faculty. I want to thank the friends and family who are here. We are all here to celebrate today the folks sitting right in front of us, the people who are about to graduate, to be the newest part of the legacy of this law school. And in speaking with you today, I want to honor to some extent that legacy. This is an amazing place to go to law school, right? The school founded by Jefferson, who remains today one of the world's most renowned and revered lawyers, not only because of his intellect and legal acumen, but frankly because he used his training as a lawyer to really reshape forever the concept of the relationship between a government and its citizens. He imagined and he gave form to a model of self-governance that was revolutionary in its time, but remains inspirational to people across the world, really hundreds of years later. He then spent most of his life as the ultimate, if a sometimes reluctant, public servant. He built out of his new idea a functioning republic. To do this, he had to embrace what I've come to view as the messiness of democracy, right? The model that he helped create. He recognized that only through sustained engagement is it possible to have a government that gives its citizens a true measure of freedom. I've spent much of my career serving in the federal government, and I can tell you, having walked the same rooms that Jefferson inhabited in the White House, that the messiness of democracy is one of its most enduring features. Many of the challenges we face today vexed Jefferson in the early years of our republic: divisive partisan posturing on all sides, a seeming preference to have an issue to use for political gain rather than to find a pragmatic solution to a problem, an electoral system that sometimes seems to favor extremists rather than those willing to compromise. The question I would ask each of you graduating today, as you set out from Jefferson's law school on your legal career, is whether there is today, as there was at the time of our nation's founding, a special role for lawyers. I believe there is. And while it may be somewhat unconventional to use a commencement address as a sales pitch, here it is, right? Your country needs you. Your government needs you. We need lawyers in public service today more than ever. Why is that, you might ask? Well, lawyers, of course, have a very particular relationship to facts and truth. We have an adversarial law system that's designed to discover truth by marshaling facts and evidence and having opposing sides bring those to argue against each other and to pit them against each other for judgment. Here at the University of Virginia Law School, you have learned to think like a lawyer, right? That means you know you don't win by misrepresenting, mischaracterizing, or denigrating your opponent's arguments. You win, you think like a lawyer, when you imagine your opponent's views in its best and strongest possible form, and then you argue against it to show why your view is better. This model is useful beyond our courtrooms and beyond our conference rooms. You can use it as a guide to a better civic debate, civic engagement by citizens. You can use the model you learned here to insist that facts matter, even as we honor differences of opinion in policy. The distinction between opinion, facts, and falsehoods is critically important in a democracy. I am reminded ever more frequently of a statement attributed to another great lawyer and public servant, Senator Pat Moynihan of New York, who said that as a citizen of a democracy, you are entitled to your own opinion, but not your own facts. Lawyers, by training and inclination, value facts and evidence as the foundation of the quest for truth. We should all want government policies to be based on the best possible evidence. And where disagreements exist, as they will, we want our leaders to resolve them by respecting everyone's viewpoint, particularly those who see things differently, and then bringing their best game, right, to persuade everyone that their view of policy decisions is the better case. In my career, I was lucky to have a lawyer and a very committed public servant as my mentor. Joe Biden taught me 3 key lessons in how to approach governing in a democracy. Reduced to their core, however, each of them really comes down to respecting your fellow citizens, especially those with whom we disagree. First, as he would put it, know what you're talking about. I can reassure you that no one on earth is a harder person to brief than Joe Biden. He has just an instinct for going right to the heart of your presentation that you kind of know is still a little bit weak, where you haven't nailed everything down, where you might not have thought everything through. And as you're talking and he's pressing you, you feel that. And if he gets to the point where he says to you, "Don't give me a bunch of malarkey," you know you're in trouble. And so this pressure, though, what he was trying to do by bringing this pressure to bear was to make you realize that if you didn't have the facts and the evidence to make your policy decision, it was not going to be necessarily a good one. He pressure tested what you were presenting to him to make sure that you don't assume your opinion is better than anybody else's. Facts are a check on arrogance. Facts are a check on too quick judgments that overlook the nuance and the complications. And facts are a check on what might feel good but can't withstand reasoned scrutiny. This is the first step of the hard work of governing. Second, he taught me, whenever possible, look for the places where you can build consensus. This means you have to focus more on what you have in common with someone than on where you disagree. And it means being patient. Governing is an iterative process, so be willing to make some progress, even if it's not all the way to the end of the goal line. Compromise, right, sometimes today thought of as a little bit of a sign of weakness, is actually the second step in the hard work of governing. Third, he taught me, disagree with your opponent's views, but don't question his or her integrity. Some things are simply too corrosive to a productive working relationship. This, in my view, is actually Joe Biden's secret, right? The explanation of why he could work throughout his long career with people across the political spectrum. I watched him interact with his friends, those he agreed with, like Ted Kennedy, by the way, another great alum of this school, but also people with whom he mostly disagreed, Strom Thurmond, Jesse Helms, John McCain. These people were his friends and his colleagues, and he was able to work productively with them because he respected them. What these lessons taught me is that democracy requires its leaders and its citizens to broaden our gaze, to recognize that what we have in common is so vastly more important than what separates us. Think about some of the things you've learned here. Representative government, free speech and free exercise of religion, a right to privacy and the pursuit of happiness from unwarranted government intrusion. These are among the core values that all of us have as Americans. While we may argue about the details, they remain shared guiding principles. They are also exceedingly rare and at risk in our world today. Lawyers have a special competence and therefore, I believe, a responsibility to defend the difficult process of distinguishing fact from opinion, truth from obfuscation, and to do so with respect and civility. Lawyers are uniquely equipped to help our nation rebuild the trust that what we have in common far outweighs and is more valuable than what we have in difference. I encourage each of you to take the model of the university's founder and serve these values. My hope is that you will use the skills you learned here in whatever way feels most engaging to you, be it in full-time public service or in part-time volunteering. I promise you, if you get engaged, you will feel engaged. There is nothing more fun than working on something and realizing it's going to be in the top story on your smartphone the next day. And knowing at the same time, taking the long view, that you're helping to write that next chapter of history. So I promise, if you try it, you will find public service intellectually challenging and satisfying. I hope you will use what you've learned here to be an agent of change. All right, that's my sales pitch. Now I can offer you a few words of practical advice as you set out from here for whatever career path you embark on. First, know that you have a long career in front of you. Pace yourselves, right? Work around the clock when you need to, but make sure you have a life beyond work. Recognize that it's the personal relationships in your life that are most important and require just as much effort, time, and dedication as work. Family is the most critical resource you have. Nurture those you love and who love you. I learned this too from Joe Biden. He taught me that those we love are the source of motivation, hope, and resilience. He asked me to come back to public service after I spent a decade home full-time raising my kids. He encouraged me to shape a schedule that would allow me to be home for dinner most nights, not the typical White House schedule, I might add. And he jokingly reminded me that I had a phone and he could call me if there was an emergency. But he showed me through this example that those we love are the very reason that we work so hard to make the nation a better place. They're also the source of all the comfort and encouragement we need as we face the inevitable challenges and setbacks in any career. Second, build for yourself what I call a personal board of directors. This means you can gather around you a small group of people you really trust who can be your sounding board on important decisions. Make sure you include in this group people that you can count on to see things differently, right? People who will test your intuitive inclinations. One of the best people on my board is someone I disagree with constantly, but her probing questions make me think harder, and when I disregard her advice, as I inevitably do, I feel so much better about the decision because she's helped me test it. Use this group to seek advice about the decisions that will shape your life, both personal and professional, about ethical dilemmas you will face, about how to handle mistakes you'll make, and how to recover from losses and failures, all of which, again, are inevitable in any career. Third, by dint of your UVA law school degree, you will be assumed to have the intellect for any job you may want. Build on that by investing in your reputation for hard work, more importantly for teamwork, for integrity, for thoughtfulness, and good judgment. Every job I have ever been offered, sometimes years later, came about because I had impressed someone that I possessed this combination of characteristics. In fact, one of the most formative of those experiences happened here at UVA Law School. My first day here, all those many years ago, I was waiting in line for something, and I struck up a conversation with another first year. I went on to be his note editor on the Virginia Law Review, and we somehow survived that despite the fact that he missed every deadline I tried to impose. His name was Tom Donlin, and he worked with a number of our nation's leaders after graduating, most recently serving as President Obama's National Security Advisor. A half dozen years after knowing him here, when I decided to leave private practice to go into government, he made one call for me, and the next thing I knew, I was counsel for constitutional law at the United States Senate for the Committee on the Judiciary. You never know who will help you make a move or land your dream job, but you can be sure it will be because of what you were like as a colleague. Fourth, be curious. Ask for help from those with more experience. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a way to learn faster. Be open to forks and turns in the road. Sometimes your career will take paths and turns you never could foresee. When I left the law school, I wanted to be a trial lawyer. I could not have imagined the career that I've had in public policy, a career that allowed me to practice constitutional law. I can't tell you how many times when I sat in my office in the Senate or my office in the White House that I turned to the Constitution not as an academic exercise, but as my primary source of information about whether the executive or the legislature had the authority to act in a particular instance. Finally, be kind and respectful to yourselves and to others. Know that while life can be unfair and sometimes people will disappoint you, humans have an amazing capacity for goodness. Nurture that capacity in yourself and in those around you, and demand it of those who run our government. Thank you. Congratulations to the University of Virginia Law School class of 2018. All the best to each of you.
Thank you, Cynthia. That was wonderful. One of the most enjoyable parts of this ceremony is the opportunity to recognize some of those who have contributed so much to the law school and our community over the past 3 years. On the back of your program, you'll see the awards that have previously been conferred on members of the class of 2018. These graduates should be very proud of these accomplishments, and we're so grateful for all the ways in which they've enhanced our community. There's also a description there of the awards that I will announce now. The recipients of these awards do not know in advance that they have received them. The awards are given based on the recommendation of the faculty, and we are truly honored to have had these graduates as members of our community over the last 3 years. One award, the Faculty Award for Academic Excellence, will not be given today, but will be announced over the summer after all of the final grade calculations have been made. If you are, sorry, you don't want to hear about grades today. If you are a recipient of an award that I announce, please stand to be recognized. Award recipients will receive their awards after they cross the stage to receive their ceremonial scrolls. The Virginia State Bar Family Law Award was established by the Family Law section of the Virginia State Bar and the Virginia chapter of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers. It is presented to the graduating student who has demonstrated the most promise and potential for the practice of family law. The 2018 recipient of the Family Law Award is Jennifer Y. Lee. Ms. Lee was a member of the Senior Editorial Board for the Virginia Journal of Social Policy and the Law. Ms. Lee was also president of the student organization Child Advocacy, Research, and Education. Congratulations. The Virginia Trial Lawyers Association Trial Advocacy Award is presented to a graduate who shows particular promise in the field of trial advocacy and who intends to take the Virginia bar. The 2018 recipient of the Virginia Trial Lawyers Association Trial Advocacy Award is Shalin Naria. Mr. Naria was a senior editor for the Virginia Journal for International Law and president of the Virginia Law Mock Trial Team. The Eppa Hutton IV Memorial Book Award was given by the associates of the Richmond law firm of Hutton & Williams in honor of the late Mr. Hutton, class of 1927. The award is presented to a graduate who demonstrates unusual aptitude in litigation courses and who shows a keen awareness and understanding of the lawyer's ethical and professional responsibility. The 2018 recipient of the Eppa Hutton Award is Shamfi Rajagopalan. Ms. Rajagopalan was the executive editor for the Virginia Journal of Criminal Law. The John M. Olin Prize in Law and Economics is presented to a student who has produced outstanding written work in the field of law and economics. The 2018 recipient of the Olin Prize is Mauricio Gim Alfago. Mr. Gim is a Doctor of Juridical Sciences graduate student originally from Ecuador who will be a law professor next year at the Instituto Tecnológico Autónomo de México. He receives the Olin Award for his paper, Strategizing Human Rights, the Effect of State Cooperation on International Judicial Behavior. The Earl K. Shaw Labor Relations Award was established by Mr. Shaw, class of 1934, and is presented to the graduate who shows the greatest promise in the field of labor relations. The 2018 recipient of the Shaw Award is Deetra S. Jones. Ms. Jones was a member of the Senior Editorial Board for the Virginia Journal of Social Policy and the Law. She also served as the president of the Black Law Students Association. The Edward S. Cohen Tax Prize was established by the late Professor Cohen and is presented to the graduate who has demonstrated superior scholarship in the tax field. The 2018 recipient of the Cohen Tax Prize is Brandon J. Dubov. Mr. Dubov was a senior editor for the Virginia Tax Review. The Mortimer Kaplan Public Service Award was established by Mr. Kaplan, class of 1940, who has long been associated with the law faculty and the law school. It is presented to a graduate entering a career in public service, in the public service sector, who demonstrates the qualities of leadership, integrity, and service to others. The 2018 recipient of the Kaplan Award is Corey Sajiu. Ms. Sajiu was a notes editor for the Virginia Journal of International Law and was also the recipient of the Skadden Public Interest Fellowship. She was previously awarded the Pro Bono Award, which is given annually to a student or students who exhibit the most extraordinary commitment to pro bono legal service. The Herbert Kramer Herbert Bangle Community Service Award was established by the late Mr. Kramer, class of 1952, and is presented to the graduate who has contributed the most to the community during his or her time in law school. The 2018 recipient of the Community Service Award is Margaret Mariana Burkle. Ms. Burkle was a member of the senior editorial board for the Virginia Journal of Social Policy and the Law. Ms. Burkle also served as the co-chair of the Peer Advisor Program. The Roger and Madeline Traynor Prize was established by the late Chief Justice Traynor and his wife and is presented to two graduates who have produced outstanding written work. The first recipient of the 2018 Traynor Prize is James A. Tomberlin. Mr. Tomberlin was a member of the editorial board for the Virginia Law Review. He receives the award for his paper, Don't Elect Me, Sheriffs and the Need for Reform in County Law Enforcement. The second recipient of the Traynor Prize is Daniel J. Richardson. Mr. Richardson was the editor-in-chief for the Virginia Law Review and president of the Virginia Employment and Labor Law Association. He wins the award for his paper, Congressional Control of Agency Expertise. I think you need to stand up again, Mr. Richardson. Mr. Richardson is also the recipient of the Z Society Shannon Award, which was established by the Z Society to promote outstanding scholarship at the university and is presented to the graduate with the highest academic record after 5 semesters. He was previously honored as the recipient of the Jackson Walker Award, which is awarded to the student with the highest grade point average after 4 semesters of law school. The LLM Graduation Award is presented by a vote of the faculty to an outstanding member of the graduating LLM class. The 2018 recipient of the LLM Graduation Award is Maria Cecilia Diayusaida. Ms. Diayusaida received her first law degree from the University of Buenos Aires and pursued her LLM degree as a Fulbright Scholar. Following graduation, she will continue her studies as a Thomas G. Bell Fellow in Bioethics at the University of Virginia Center for Biomedical Ethics and Humanities. Upon completion of the Bell Fellowship, she plans to return to her native Argentina to resume her work with the Public Ministry of Defense of the City of Buenos Aires. The Robert E. Goldston Award for Distinction in the Classroom was established by Mr. Goldston, class of 1940, and is presented by vote of the faculty to the graduate who has contributed the most to classroom education by his or her outstanding recitation and discussion. The 2018 recipient of the Goldston Award is Jeremy M. Benny. Mr. Benny was the co-president of the program in Law and Public Service, the president of the William Minor Lyle Moot Court Competition, and an executive editor for the Virginia Journal of Social Policy and the Law. He was previously awarded the Ritter Prize for extraordinary honor, character, and integrity. The Thomas Marshall Miller Prize was established by Emily Miller Danton in honor of her father and is presented by vote of the faculty to an outstanding and deserving member of the graduating class. This year, there are 2 recipients of the Miller Prize. The first recipient of the Miller Prize is Robert Michael Smith. Mr. Smith was the president of the Federalist Society and of Advocates for Life. He was also a submissions editor for the Journal of Law and Politics. The second recipient of the Miller Prize is Megan C. Keenan. Ms. Keenan was president of the Public Interest Law Association and a member of the Submissions Review Board for the Virginia Journal of International Law. She was also previously awarded the Daniel Rosenblum Award, which is given to a third-year student with a strong academic record and dedication to supporting and assisting her classmates. In addition, she was also the recipient of the Pro Bono Award, which is given annually to the student or students who exhibit the most extraordinary commitment to pro bono legal service. The James C. Slaughter Honor Award was established in honor of the late Mr. Slaughter, class of 1951, and is presented by vote of the faculty to an outstanding member of the graduating class. The 2018 recipient of the Slaughter Award is Laura Allison Herzog. Ms. Herzog was the editor-in-chief for the Virginia Journal of Social Policy and the Law. She was also a recipient of the Shoemaker Moot Court Award, which is given to the semifinalists of the Lyle Moot Court competition, and the Trainer Trial Advocacy Award, which is given to the best oralist in the Lyle Moot Court final argument. She was also the recipient of the National Association of Women Lawyers Award. The Margaret G. Hyde Award was established by the late Forrest J. Hyde, Jr., class of 1915, and is presented by vote of the faculty to the graduate whose scholarship, character, personality, activities in the affairs of the school, and promise of achievement have entitled him or her to special recognition. The 2018 recipient of the Hyde Award is Jay Swanson. Mr. Swanson was a recipient of the Kingdon Moot Court Prize, which is given to the winners of the Lyle Moot Court competition. He was an articles editor for the Virginia Law Review. Please join me in congratulating all of our award winners. We will now prepare the stage for the presentation of our graduates.
I will now call the roll of the graduates. The candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor: Melody Aaron, Natalie Helene Abshez, Natalie Ann Afanito, Lateef G. Alashe, Amy Albert, Sean Archibald, Daniel C. Auten, Jonathan M. Babcock, Eric Lyle Backman, Andrew Bay, Elizabeth Baya, Clayton Lewis Bailey, Charles Thomas Baker, Shireen Baradaran, Joseph Barakat, Peter William Bouts, Gregory Charles Beller, Anthony Donovan Belton, Jeremy Benny, Elizabeth A. Benshoff, Joseph Patrick Betley, Margaret Mariana Burkell, Eliza Grace Biswas. John Fairfield Bach. Christine Michelle Bottomley. Jason Michael Boyle. Susan Nicole Bumgardner. Madison Collins Bush. Christopher Byer. Mark Paul Capuano. George Anthony Caratanuto. Joseph Matthew Charlet. Caitlin Alexis Cheladin. Stephanie Alicia Chen. Joshua D. Christensen. Heather Christine Chikese. Laura Cooley. First Lieutenant Jacqueline Chase Copeland. Carol Irene Courtenay. Diana Curtis. Bo Alexander Dane. Emily Christina Davidson. Jennifer Marie Davidson. William Davis. Joshua Kane Day. Janelle Marie Delatorre. Brandon Michael Defoe. Brad Dennis. Jim Dennison. Michael Dooley. Brandon Dubov. Gary Russell Dunn. William Engelhart. Scott Fallon. Tess Nien. Mackenzie Farden. Danielle Noah Cologne. Feldman Green. Francisco Fernandez del Castillo. Anthony Stephen Ferrara. Ashley Nicole Finger. Daniel Vincent Flynn III. Jared Asher Forbes. Ricardo Carlos Fraga. Stephanie Yu Yang Feng. Angela Garcia. Nick Garifo. Jordan T. Garside. Alyssa Ann Gaudio. William Cole Getty. Aaron Gerbach. Chris Justo. Stephen James Glendon. Jenna Morgan Goldman. Holland Elsa Goldsmith. Zachary Ellinger Guzet. Michael Stephen Gowdy. Kristen Lynn Gould. Camille Nicole Grant. Lara Hamilton Gregory. Avia Elaine Greedy. Kiana Caprice Griffith. William Groover. Nicholas Marcon Guerrero. Nel Silvia M. Guzman. Nicholas D. Hanel. Nicholas Scott Hagan. Eric C. Hall. Alana Harris. Curtis Houston Hart. Samantha Rachel Hasey. James Francis Hassan. Maximilian Heckel. Elizabeth Timmons Hedges. Krista Alford Hecking. Alexandra Hemmings. Christopher Scott Herlihy. Laura Allison Herzog. Austin Hill. John Hobgood. Abby Rose Hollenstein. Aaron Noel Hood. Timothy Durkin Horley. Lauren Howes. Madeline Christie Hutchings. Hayden Hutto. Joseph Hyken. Maya Iani. Kirsten Jackson. Stephanie Jackson. Keisha James. Deetra Shanae Jones. Anna Hugo. Shun Jung. Matthew Kabak. Adam B. Kahn. Ann E. Kang. Leah Michelle Keene. Megan Christine Keenan. Connor James Kelly. Joanna Gerard Kelly. Bennett H. Kenzie. Greg Ketchum Caldwell. Nimra Khan. Benjamin J. Kim. Rebecca Kimmel. Thomas Philip Kinzinger. Jeremiah Kirstein. Josh Koss. Tuzuk Cole. Carolyn Gott Kraska. Paul Richard Krebs. Gregory LaHood. Shannon Catherine Lane. Nicole Marie Lawler. Jennifer Yu-Jung Lee. Michael Charles Lee. Sarah Legault. Gregory Leonard. Ryan Leonard. Patrick Welling Lugers. Matthew Jeremiah Levittown. Annie Lee. Wade Dolan Lepard. Carl M.F. Lockhart. Jeremy S. Lofthouse. Anne Marie Lord. Alec Luring. Candace Danae Lundquist. Alexander Macmillan. Julia Maureen Maloney. Thomas Nolan Pattison. David Forrest McClellan. Amber McCoy. William Brian McDavid, Jr. Andrew McLaughlin. Christina Nanette McLeod. Colette Jean Defosse McNeila. Matthew Joseph McNerney. Abigail McKinsey Meredith. Jake Alexander Mahulkanen. Andrew Robert Miller. Patrick Miller. Catherine Ann Moles. Catherine Lee Montoya. Sterling Moore. Megan Moore. Emily Sears Mordecai. John Arthur Morgan. Henry Morris. Stephen Lewis Morris, Jr. Camille Adele Mott. Elise Moy. Kaylee Mrozak. Katie Elizabeth Mullally. Cassandra Jo Murphy. Christian Joshua Myers. Jordan Michelle Naftalis. Brandon Alexander Newman. Halima A. Nguyen. Shalin Noria. Rachel Christine Oberg. Philip Troy Oji. Andrew Tyler Ognabeni. David R. Ortiz. Grant Page. Molly Rebecca Paulman. Andrew Youngsun Park. Dasher Lynn Pasco. Natasha Candida Pereira. Stephen Benjamin Pett. William Phelan. William Brock Phillips. Christian Keene Pierce. Jennifer Marie Pike. Adrian J. Pitchman. Jennifer N. Pop. Brendan Francis Porter. Ashley Powell. Catherine Dolores Profuma. Sarah Prusen. Shanti Rajagopalan. Gregory Paul Ranzini. Anna Burrows Rao. Desiree N. Reeves. Jeffrey Ryan Register. William W. Ricart III. Alana J. Reed. Louisa Nicole Rich. Daniel J. Richardson. Catherine Ann Rizzoni. William Allen Robertson. Sharon Tara Rogart. Robert Joseph Rogowski. Daniel Rose. Marguerite Ashford Rowe. Tanner Russo. Michael Nicholas Ritigliano. Ethan Allen Sachs. Corey Sadiu. Lauren Sandground. Edmund Saul. Aviva Schaefer. Liesel Nika Shapira. Elliot Scher. Megan E. Schultz. Kira Rachel Schwartz. Rebecca Sharino. Anna Michelle Searcy. Amanda Kathleen Searles. Malin Kyrove Shaw. Matthew Shadanoff. Christine Noel Sherman. Scott Anthony Shermatero. Megan Renee Shull. Katerina Linnea Sifkus. Jordan Ryan Silversmith. Loren Marie Simonis. Mary Daniel Simpson. Edward Lewis Smith. Robert Smith. Ryan Richard Talbot Snow. Alexander Evans Snowden. Campbell Sodi. Hannah Catherine Sowell. Amanda Rose Stanzioni. Allison Lee Steed. Ariella Stepanian. Ashley Rose Stoner. Jay Swanson. Andrew Edward Talbot. Daniel Temkin. Catherine Andrews Thompson. Andreas Benjamin Taus. Julianne Alexandra Toya. James A. Tomberlin. Kiara Tondi Resta. Trevor McDonnell Toff. Hillary Daisy Turner. Christopher Edward Tatunjian. Michael Anthony Vacchiano. Diana Valloveda. Philip Wilson Van Winkle. Julianne Ruth Vargo. Victor Visor. Cheryl Wong. Evan Alistair Ward. Charles Harold West, Jr. Michael J. West. Austin David Westerberg. Joseph Benjamin Wilkinson. Brittany Antoinette Williams. J. Travis Williamson. Jill Winter. Ryan James Witt. Stanley Wong. David Donald Rawls Wuchinich. Julia Ruth Wynn. Elizabeth Johnston Wytock. Samuel Jurgen. Jonathan Paul York. Willard Franklin Younger. Margaret Zelensky. Whale N. Zwain. The candidates for the degree of Masters of Law: Hiroaki Asahara. Satomi Asahara. Guilherme Azevedo Ferreira Alves. Santiago de Besa. Maria Cecilia Diayusaida. Karen E. Hong Guo. Helen Herman. And Sophie Utu Ilzar. Kotaro Kajimoto. Pei Lung Lee. Eating Lee. Brian Lones. Maria Jimena Londano Ferrer. Yuki Matsuda. Paul Mungay. Miyuki Nasuda. Shin Shin Nien. Danielle Pologi. Shafira Nindia Putri. Takanori Sakai. Exura Sakarog Boribrak. Maximilian Shellhorn. Johan Sager. Sam Shea. Uya Su. Shoko Teraseka. Ana Paula Bueno. Ava Van Leuven. Thierry van Arborg. Takuya Wada. Michael Wong. Shun Wang. Wu Zhao Yen. Patrick Shaw. Hideyuki Yamabe. Jachi Yao. Wenda Zhang. The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Juridical Science: Mauricio Guim Alfago. Gulardi Norbentoro. The candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor who have also received the Masters of Business Administration today: Pierce Kirk Babarak. Alfonso L. Carney III. James Richard Franco. Sarah Smith Freeman. Ryan Frisbee. Alexander Joseph Hoffarth. Mark Robert Moran. Phoebe Ann Willis. This concludes the roll of the graduates.
I know it's hot and we're almost done. On the last day of first-year constitutional law, I tell my students, and I know some of you were in that class, though I don't kid myself that any of you recall this, that the key to the Constitution, that the Constitution and constitutional arguments are the key to the kingdom in a constitutional democracy like ours. And today, it's important to broaden that. The law, writ large, is the key to a society committed to the rule of law. The law unlocks doors and enforces contracts. It puts people in prison and gets them out again. It allows for treaties and it ends war. It merges companies or allows them to go bankrupt. That means that those who know the law hold the keys. And I hope that you have learned here that the law is not a constant, external, foreign thing that exists in a vacuum. It is made, not found, made by lawyers who both represent clients and make the rules for other clients going forward, made by you. So to add to what Cynthia Hogan said about the duty and importance of serving is the power of serving. You now hold the keys. You have the power to shape the law and in a truly grand fashion to shape our economy, our government, and our society. Your careers will take you anywhere and everywhere. As Cynthia said, life is long and careers and lives are long and varied. Alumni, when I meet them at various occasions, are sometimes sheepish to tell me that they are no longer practicing lawyers, that they have changed jobs, they've moved in unexpected professional or personal directions. So I ask you now never to feel sheepish about where your career takes you. So long as you maintain your integrity, your judgment, and your humanity, it is never a failure to grow and change, to find new paths and unplanned avenues. Indeed, those sometimes sheepish alumni also tell me that no matter what they do and where they land, what they learned in their 3 years here has served them well. And I am confident that you will feel the same. So as you enter on this new adventure, always remember to fall back on and carry with you the education that you received here and the friends you made. This degree, this learning, this model of nobility will serve you always. And this community, these people, this place will always be here for you. What we promised you when we recruited you to UVA was not only 3 years of learning, friendship, and support, but a lifetime of the same. There are over 20,000 Virginia law graduates in the world. Most remain actively involved with the law school, in any given year more than 1,000 coming back to this building. They come to teach as adjuncts or short course instructors, to judge first-year oral arguments or moot court competitions, to speak to student groups, participate in the governance of the law school through service on the Law School Foundation Board of Trustees and the Alumni Council. They come to recruit our students to their law firms, their agencies, and their organizations. And some, and I know some here today are in this category, have the great pleasure to return to see their children or grandchildren graduate from the law school as well. And of course, our graduates return in great numbers for their reunions. Last week, I welcomed back a record 1,500 alumni for reunions. The oldest in attendance was from the class of 1948. He still returns because this place, these people, and this community made him who he is and remain deeply meaningful 70 years later. I know you can't even imagine 70 years right now, but I hope and trust that after all that time, you will all feel the same. So, though my pride is tinged with wistfulness at your departure, I know we are saying so long rather than goodbye. All of us on this stage are excited to say hello again and to hear about what each of you does next and then next after that. Congratulations and enjoy it all. There are refreshments inside as well as air conditioning. Thank you.